we will start again. Thank you so much, everyone, and your patience and the technical glitches on this auspicious new moon and equinox first day of spring. So I want to say welcome. I'm Deborah LeeAnn, and I am here with our Luminary Leadership Speaker Series. And this first one is going to be launched today with my friend, mentor, and teacher, Rachael Jayne Groover. Welcome, Rachael.
Hello.
Hi. Can you turn your audio up just a little?
My audio up just a little. Let me just...
Yes, please. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of an introduction. As your host and a women's leadership catalyst, I felt a strong desire to share some of the wisdom I've gained through my journey and working with so many women and what they've taught and inspired me as true role models for what it means to be a shining light and a woman that is a powerful and feminine leader. Today, our guest is Rachael Jayne Groover, and I'm going to read a little bit about her background. She is the author of the best-selling book, Powerful and Feminine: How to Increase Your Magnetic Presence and Attract the Attention You Want. As an accomplished singer and songwriter from Australia, Rachael Jayne was most fascinated with why some performers had an incredible stage presence and others, who might have been technically brilliant, did not. And she realized that anyone could learn the key factors that create stage presence in a performer and use them to stand out, be seen, and inspire others in any situation. So by overcoming her stage fright and enormous fear of rejection, she has become an award-winning vocalist and finished her full-time singing career performing to a live audience of 40,000 people before making the leap to live in the United States and become an inspirational speaker and personal development trainer. She now travels the world teaching women how to increase their personal presence, their feminine energy, and their vocal power so they can walk into any room and be seen and heard in the way that they want. She's the creator of the Art of Feminine Presence, and there are now classes and trainings being offered worldwide by both herself and over 150 certified teachers that are working with her. She also founded the Yin Project and the Feminine Spirituality in Leadership Institute, initiatives that work with women on the importance of the feminine principle in intimate relationships, leadership, and in shifting global consciousness. So I want to just say, please, a warm welcome to you, Rachael Jayne, and for your patience on working through the technology today.
Well, I hope we've worked out the technology because I've got my microphone up full blast. And can you hear me fine?
You're really low. Let me see if I can do something here to turn up your volume. Let's try that and see if that's a little bit louder.
Is that a little bit better?
Not very great for some reason.
Hey, is there? So just bear with us, ladies. I'm so sorry, but I'm on my computer. I have everything at the highest level, but I don't know if there's something within Google Hangouts that I need to put up at the level. Is there a particular Google Hangouts window that?
I've got it. I just adjusted mine, and I think we're good.
Okay.
So.
Awesome.
I would like to just say a couple of the questions I've got for you, Rachael Jayne, and I did not script this so you don't know these questions, but I know you as an authentic woman and you'll be able to come across and answer them beautifully. Can you tell us a little bit of your story? Where were you and how did you get to be in the role that you're in now?
Well, there's been a lot of ups and downs on this journey, and it's sort of, I guess, depends on what year the story begins. I mean, I really was first attracted to the work around feminine energy, feminine leadership way back, that came out of the pain of my singleness as a woman, and really struggling to, feel my own power and I was clever and not ugly and like all these things. And I was like, why is he not here? What is going on? Because there was really big disconnect between the way that I was with people I felt comfortable and the way that I was with masculine men, and realized on that journey that I had not really embraced and embodied my feminine energy. And so as I started working with that, things shifted beautifully in relationships and just attracting more of the right type of men with the polarity of that masculine, but also in integrity and compassionate too. And that led me to meeting Dada, my husband now, and all of that. And then the other thing that was sort of going alongside that was this fascination, like you said, around presence and being a speaker and singer in the past, and just really wanting to be that person, that woman who could be seen and appreciated and sort of had something, when she walked into a room. And now looking back, I know that that's, a part of my own, like, I want to be special. I want to be noticed. I want to be, that. But I think every woman has that, especially as we come into our feminine, that we want to be noticed in, a unique, an important way. And when we're not, our feminine gets squashed and it gets, either shut down, or if it's shut down already, it doesn't have room to grow. So within these two things, I started, being my own guinea pig with what amplifies feminine energy, what amplifies someone's magnetic presence, what amplifies their credibility in leadership, and started trying that out for myself. And that's where the classes and the workshops and the trainings got birthed from, is my own, what's going on,
Yeah. And I think that's so funny, because we tend to do and teach what we most want to learn ourselves. I feel like that's what I do as well. So thank you for that. And there's something about, though, just in the time that I've known you, which has been close to 8 years or so now, when I started in the feminine leadership program with you, but knowing that you went from this little tiny coaching business to now running, please tell them, I mean, you are traveling around the world and giving workshops and huge mastery leadership programs, and the success of your business has grown exponentially in the last few years. So I'm just curious, how does the presence piece influence that business growth as well?
It's massive, the influence. And, that this is sort of my shtick right now, is that so many people are just focused on strategies when they're building their business or trying to get their career ahead, and they're not really focused on the presence. And yes, strategies are important, but when I had the very small coaching business, and always in that, ups and downs of where's the money coming from and trying to make the impact, it just was not consistent and really discouraging a lot of the time. And I was only focused on all the things that I was learning around strategies, how to do an interview and how to build an email list and how to shoot a video and how to do all these things that in our industry we need to do. But they weren't working very well. I mean, once I got onto a one-to-one conversation with people, I could connect that way, but I wasn't in the marketplace in the way that I wanted to be. And so I took a serious look at those people who were in our industry of transformation and coaching and consulting and helping people really change their lives in a big way. And all of those people that have done really, really well in income and impact had a lot of presence. I mean, it's different the way their presence shows up, because we all have a unique, presence about us, but they all had that. And I didn't really have that when you first met me. I mean, I could talk and there's certain things that I had, but it was not shining through. And so when I had that realization, which was about 5.5, 6 years ago now, I decided to commit to mastering presence, on a video, on stage, in that one-to-one communication and conflict, which I hate, all of these things that I wasn't able to go to the next level in my leadership or in my business. I did. And it was the guinea pig thing. I was really practicing what would change. And I noticed I mean, the videos changed straight away. I was posting videos on YouTube and they were sort of okay, but not great. And as I was practicing my presence through the camera, people would pass them along. People were finding me now on YouTube and they weren't before. My speaking from just little, things here in Fort Collins. I'm home in Fort Collins this week, doing some, smaller groups now to speaking on some of the bigger stages in the personal development realm as well as the business development realm. I would not have been asked to be there unless there was a good amount of presence. And then that's led into everything with the business. Going from not much money to over 7-figure business now and continuing to grow really quickly. And so, if anybody takes anything from today, it's really, yes, strategies are important, but presence precedes every strategy that you do. So take a look at what are you putting as the most important thing, and be honest with yourself. Is it I've got to do a Google Hangout like Deborah is, have I got to get up and speak and get in your head about all the things you're doing versus really learn how to have that presence.
Yes. And what I'm curious about is when you get stuck, and this is something that I'm struggling with. It's perfect that we're doing this on the equinox, because there is this feminine and masculine stuff that to me bumps up against each other. It's like the doing, and you're talking about that with strategies and structure, but then the presence piece and the being in our bodies. And I guess I'm still trying to find that balance. And I'm curious, where do you get stuck? Are there days where you feel like you're exhausted because you are still in the pushing, striving mode? Do you ever have issues? And is that you're still playing with,
Yeah. So there's two questions in that. I really love them both. So that the first piece is important around this balance, that people are trying to get, and there's the doing, and you have to do. I mean, if you're going to build a successful business or really get further up in your career, there's going to be a lot of work involved. There is a lot of action and direction that's needed. So I like pulling apart the yin and the yang aspects of humanity and have that separate to the feminine and the masculine terms, because we have sort of put them all in together, and that creates a lot of confusion and misrepresentation of what the feminine energy and the feminine essence really is and what the masculine essence really is. So you talking about the balance, it is important, the balance of yin and yang. So I'm always checking in a given week, not usually a day, because some days ask for more yang, some days ask for more yin, but like a given week, I'm tuning in, am I having that balance of passive following and active direction, or doing and being, emotional, letting that part of humanity run through me, and the logical. And so those people that have, that I've met, the most presence and that are really functional human beings, because we're not just talking about presence and being magnetic just for magnetic sake, it's being a functional leader that has people really, really, really want to follow you. All of those people have had a very strong balance of yin and yang. But the caveat is that you can do that pretty much all the time from your feminine. So I can move fast, I can be directive, I can, lead, and all the yang things that we would think that some people would say is masculine, but it's not, it's just yang. And I can do all of those and still be in my feminine essence, which is my sexuality, it's my physicality, it's my humanness. So I too, I find the balance pretty easy these days, to sort of check in. But I do find myself coming out of that feminine still. And I think what's really important, great exercise to do if you're listening in today, is what is the belief that throws you out of the feminine when you're in this balanced place or when you're not in this balanced place? Does that make sense? So the underlying belief that's like I can't be feminine.
Yeah. And that was going to actually, I was going to ask you, is there some little exercise that you can demonstrate or teach us right now that would be something that everybody could take away today as something that they can put into play right away? I mean, is there a quick check-in? I mean, I know a lot of the exercises take longer, but is there some kind of tweaking or?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, lots, because as you know, there's 44 practices in the art of feminine presence. So my whole work is around giving some tangible things. But one thing that comes to mind, and we can maybe do another one too if we have time, you let me know, but this this reasoning of why you disconnect from your feminine. So I want you to just jot down these statements, and I want you to feel into intuitively, or just like if you get a hit on which one are you holding more than the others. The first one is that the feminine is not as productive as the masculine. Right? So it's not going to get as much done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Second belief is the feminine is weaker than the masculine.
Yeah.
Third one, it's not safe to be feminine.
Yeah.
And then the fourth and final one is it's not politically correct to be too feminine.
It's one of my questions. Yeah.
So just play with that, right now and later. We don't just spend a whole lot of time, but we disconnect, and I can give so many practices to connect into your feminine. But going back to your question of me, those are the times when I disconnect. It's because I don't feel it is safe. It's sort of my biggest one right now. I don't feel it's safe to be in my feminine all the time. And it doesn't make any logical sense, but what's happening right now that I'm noticing is when I'm home and I'm alone with my husband and just sort of in my I can be in my feminine. It's easy. When I come to work, most of the time, it's pretty easy now for me to be in my feminine, because I've done a lot of work on the productivity thing and all of that. But underlying, there is a sense of guilt that I can just hang out in my feminine all the time. And if people really see me just hanging out happy in my feminine all the time as I'm doing this amazing work, that's not okay. I feel guilty about, other people. And so I then, in that moment, if I've been in my feminine too long, I disengage with that when someone's in front of me. And it's like I need to sort of prove I'm doing a lot of work here. I'm doing a lot of work. My jaw gets tense. What do you need? Can you relate to that?
Yes, I can. And that is so big. And I think that one of the questions I had around it was the politically correct one. Are you allowed to be in a pleasurable, which I feel like being in our feminine is a place of, there's a pleasure factor there, which is so not cool with so many women. They're like, if I'm having a good time, then I can't be working very hard. So I totally get that. That is big. And there's a whole professionalism one. Like, how can we be, the other part of it is the sensuality. Can you be sensual and professional? I mean, can you be feminine in our appearance and our beauty? I mean, because beauty is important and all of that. Then how do you blend that with being professional?
Right. And, I have not grown up in corporate situations. I grew up in education. So, I mean, in a way, that's your own environment where there's many, many people in the higher education institution, and there's men and women, and you're dealing with the politics there. And, small business. But what I've seen in all the women that have come to Art of Feminine Presence weekends, and you've seen it too, is when they go into the sensual feminine, and it's only sensual feminine, it's easy to judge. You can see it's easy for people to be like, well, who does she think she is? She's at work or whatever. But if that is anchored with what we call womb space energy and the containment of your own light globe, your own energy, when a woman it centers that, she can be almost as central as she likes. And everyone's more like, wow, what a leader. Oh my gosh. So, you know what I mean?
I do. And but that when you, the feeling is they have to, I feel like people need to, every woman needs to feel that power before they get what that would look like. Because I feel like we're so judgmental of other women sometimes that will go to that place of who does she think she is or whatever. So that's a key point. Thank you for that. That was good. That was really good.
Yeah. So I just want to put a statement on that too. Just there is hope. There really is hope that you can go into a corporate environment, a masculine environment, and be in your feminine, but you have to learn that anchoring of power while you're in that feminine place. Otherwise, it will be too much. And that's why women, it's all or nothing. They'll go masculine or they'll go super feminine and then they get judged for that. But, you know, when we're in that place in AFP and I'm in that walking down that, you know, catwalk in that way that we demonstrate, and then I get other people, there is not a woman in the room that's like, oh, I want to judge her. There's not a one woman in the room
that's so true.
I would judge her.
That's such a great exercise too. I love that one. I have two other questions if we have time, and one of them has to do with separating your business life from your romantic life. I mean, knowing that you work and are business partners with your husband, how do you, again, it's that blend or that magical alchemy between the business and personal life and masculine and feminine, and how do you dance with that one, Rachael Jayne?
Yeah, I love that question too, because I'm very much in love with my husband, and we talk about this a lot because we work together, and besides our home life, everything's about our work because we love it so much. It's our creative outlet, it's our travel, it's all of that. And we're in each other's pockets a lot. So a couple of things. One is we are very clear that relationship comes first, not in just our set intention, but in our practice, right? If business is starting to feel like that's coming first in our relationship, one of us will literally be like, we need to adjust this. And it's several times in the year that might be that, like last year, maybe 2 or 3 times, usually before a huge, massive event. We're like, hang on, let's get perspective here. So check in with your intention. Is your relationship and the health of that and the polarity of that more important? And it definitely is for us. We set boundaries and we're very clear on them. They're non-negotiable. So we eat practically every single meal together, even through the workday. We have our breakfast together. He usually here at the office makes me a little lunch and we sit down and we have that together. We have dinners together. So we have that time to reconnect. It is a no work talking zone, right? Our bedroom's a non-walk talking zone. And this might seem, but you might have this agreement and you're not following through on the agreement, and we're very, very clear on that.
So no laptop in bed? No laptop in bed, right? You keep your laptop away from your bedroom.
There is no laptop in bed. There's no talk about work. And we have a morning where we don't talk about work until a certain time so we can have our meditation. I can go on my walk. He does his writing. So we've really got those boundaries together. And then I think the third thing is making sure during the day at work there is a polarity exchange. So it's always funny. I laugh and share it at the AFP sometimes, but I guess you're all sisters here, but like so often he'll like just feel me going like, okay, she's been working hard this morning. We'll come in my office and literally pin me up against this wall and remind me that Yes, I am the CEO in this corner office, but like, you're my woman.
Oh,
And, I have those same things that I can do with him, and literally they're happening, I'd say on a usual day, maybe 4 or 5 times a day during work. So, when people see us at events, which is so lovely to hear, like, you just seem to have this chemistry and whatever. It is built, it is nurtured, and it's very consistent. And if it doesn't, if it changes, then one of the two of us are pretty on that quickly.
that's great. Thank you for that. The last question that I have before we maybe open and see if there's time for any additional ones is around the money. Is money masculine or feminine, or, growing your business? Did you have some up-leveling issues around, increasing your money flow into the business? I mean, was there how did you play with that? Because to me, that's a big thing for a lot of women, is there's a set point that we allow ourselves to receive only so much. It's not just receive money, it's receive joy and love and everything, but money tends to be symbolic for that. Can you tell me about, did you push through something to get to an opening around allowing money in?
I think it's been incremental, because every time I get through a thing, then there's more crap to sort of wade through around like what's the next set limit. So for me at least, it's been very incremental in my belief structure and feeling of my own value. But I want to say two things, because we could have a wonderful conversation about that for many hours. It's a great topic. That I don't think money is masculine or feminine, but there are yin ways and yang ways to be in relationship to money. And if it's not a balance, there is something out of kilter. So in relationship to money, you've got those yang directed goals. I'm going to work hard, do this, do that, whatever's there. And then on the yin side of it, maybe there's trust, maybe there's following, maybe there's internal belief work, right? And so if you are just yang and you do, sometimes that leads to money, but often not, because there's something else that's like holding, there's a distrust, there's a not following what you're really meant to be doing. And I see a lot of women, particularly in the starting up business phase, that they're too yin. They're trusting, they're feeling their value, they're meditating on the clients coming, but they're just not doing enough yang. There's just not enough movement forward. And especially if you're beginning. So if you're beginning business owners, there is a ramp up time. Usually you've got to sow so many seeds before they start to sprout. And that's where people give up or think that they'll never get there.
Right.
So it's a lot of yang in the beginning, a lot of watering and, grow, and then it can start to come back into balance. So look at how you're relating to money. Are you being too hyper yang or too hyper yin? And find ways to get that being a balance. But I would say on the second answer part is, I think the biggest thing for me is getting my value. If I don't get my value, no one else is getting my value. No one's going to magically be like, you, Rachael Jayne, are the most amazing, amazing thing that I've ever come across. I think a lot of people are hoping that will happen, but it just, it doesn't. And so always asking the question, what am I putting value on and what am I not putting value on? Because especially for our sort of work, it's a lot of it's soft skills. It's not business coaching or whatever, even though I do that. That's sort of easier to quantify. But when I started, it was like it's spiritual mentoring. It's teaching about feminine essence. And then it becomes, is it valuable just to sit in the room with me? Is it valuable just to see how I do things, like shadow me for a day? Is it valuable? And I keep asking these questions, and that's where I see where I'm like, ooh, no, I'm only valuable if I do this, or I'm only valuable if I do that.
Oh, that is brilliant.
That's adding to your list of why you're valuable.
Very good. That's excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to be mindful. I know you have another commitment. See if I
I'm
have-
good for about another, probably like 8 minutes, if you're good with that.
Perfect. The one question I had around, where is it? That where is it? And I want to be to show that we are all like human, and that you are just as human as the rest of us. And I want to say, in terms of something around the area, can we talk a little bit about a shadow or an area that is a challenge that you're still having to remind yourself to work on every day as a woman who is the CEO of this successful business? Is there a it's something that is that you're still not it's still not a natural strength and comes easy to you, that you still have to like push forward or push through every day to do your best? Is there something you'd be willing to share with us around that?
Plenty. There's plenty. I mean, leadership is the biggest, inward journey ever, and then leadership with your own business. So you've got to be the one bringing in the money and really feel your value. I mean, then it's like, whew. So I'm working on quite a few things right now, but I think that the theme that I uncover is this wanting people to like me, wanting people to feel connected to me. And if they don't, what can I do to create that? And so, with shadow work, when you're looking at the opposite that you don't want to be, one of the big shadows that I'm working with right now is ruthless. Because to me, I would never, ever want to be ruthless. I don't feel like I'm ruthless. I don't think, like, on the spectrum, I'm like the other way. But as the company grows, there's more contracts, there's more agreements, there's more things that have to be boundaried, there's more things to risk and lose, and I've got 10 mouths to feed here. Like this, it grows, and so there has to be those boundaries, and usually people don't love them. I was just talking to one of my team members this morning. It's like we find that sometimes, thankfully with our tribe, it's very rare, but sometimes people will use my softness, what I come across hopefully as is pretty open-hearted, what you see is what you get, fairly soft, warm energy, and if they see that, then they can like use that. She'll just let me out. I'll just, whatever. And so, and I don't want to stick to that, because that will make me look like I'm ruthless.
Right.
Where I actually have to protect trademarks with AFP teachers, that you're one of them. I've got to protect my team and make sure their payrolls are done. I've got to protect the integrity of the work. I've got to protect myself. I mean, so that's one thing I want to forget. But again, the base of that is they're not going to like me, because if I'm ruthless, then, or they see me as that. So I don't think I'll ever be that. But so just playing with what's cool about being ruthless.
Yeah.
You get what you want. The desire's pretty, and so things like that. But, conflict is still really hard for me, but it goes down to I don't want them to leave me or not like me. I still worry about money, even though our consistency and cash flow and all that is so in a different place than it was years ago in building this. But I still worry about it. But again, the underlying part of worrying about money is more about people, letting people down. Image versus like, I'm not going to have money, because it's just not so much a worry anymore. So, I look at that for all of you, that are looking at like some parts and see if there is really that underlying foundational thing, that why these things are really still issues. And so on the other side, what I really committed to with myself, my accountability group, and my husband the other day is like, I realize some people scare me. And it's when they scare me that I'm like, I try to like do what I can do to be liked. And my commit was like, I'm not letting people scare me anymore. You know, I'm not, because that's not just me. That's just me in my need to be liked that's creating the scary. And if I can work with that, and just the last few weeks have been so different with those, I mean, like 2 or 3 people in my whole sphere of influence that sort of scare me. I'm like, no, I got to work on my likability thing. It's not them, and I'm not letting them scare me.
That is brilliant. And that is a perfect place for us to end. But I'm just like, that is so classic, and it's true. But the biggest thing is to just be aware, that self-awareness of, oh, there's that little thing about wanting to be liked, and I'm okay here and I'm safe. Because that's mine too, is around, am I safe? Am I safe? Can I just be myself here in this place?
Exactly.
So this has been so much fun, and I just really appreciate your patience as we got this all up and running. I want to just share for everybody, since I am going to be putting this up on my YouTube channel. Is there a way that if they want more information about you, Rachael Jayne, where would they find you? How would they hook up with learning more about Art of Feminine Presence, besides connecting with me about that, of course? But is there something else that you would like to share that you have upcoming, or that they can, how would you like these women to find you?
Yeah, I think the good next step would be to go to rachaeljayne.com. It's spelled weird because my name's spelled weird. But at the top of that page, there is a video on leadership, inspirational leadership, and it goes more into shadow, presence, a lot of the other key things that we were talking about, strategy, yes, as well. So that would be a good, cool first video training to do that's free, and it's just up there. And the other thing, if you're watching this on YouTube, we've got our Awaken TV. We put out an episode every week around presence, purpose, practical spirituality, and so I think the videos are a good place to start.
Perfect. I will put those links out on this when I send it out to everybody, that they can get more information at the Awaken TV and at the rachaeljayne.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your time with me today. And I'm going to be giving away a choice of either your book or your meditation CD to one of the lucky listeners. So I'll do that offline, so you can head on to your next appointment.
And I just want to say, give a plug for you, is if anyone is thinking, like anyone resonates with this work and wants to do more around their feminine, their presence, leadership, see Deborah. I mean, she teaches this work. She's brilliant. She is an amazing leader. If you're not anywhere near her, go to the online stuff, but really doing presence work and getting feedback has to be an in-person thing. And we're all over the world, but she is right there in your local community. So make sure you get the resource there, because she is a brilliant one.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. And till our next time together, Rachael Jayne, thank you so much. I'm going to go off here and do the award winning to one of our lucky listeners.
Thank you, Deborah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.